Welcome, gamers! I am MonriaTitans, writer for the Opinions and Truth blog and host of the Weekend Game Show, where I educate on and discuss different aspects of game development to show why video games can take years to make to prevent another Cyberpunk 2077 launch scenario. And one of the ways I do this is with the Let's Read Some Shit videos, where I read aloud portions emphasis on portions for DMCA and copyright reasons of a couple of books regarding video games, their creation, their impact on the world, to show the legitimacy of video games as an artistic medium and or whatever I feel like reading at the time. In addition, I also hope to promote I Can Talk literacy as a whole. I also provide artist shoutouts to human artists to combat AI art theft. All of them can be seen on the Become Empowered Instagram, all one word, one E in the middle. All rights reserved by the artists. Hashtag create, don't scrape. If this is something you're interested in, then you can find the other videos on my YouTube channel under the handle at MonriaTitans. I would spell it out, but the social media rotator already has it there for you. I'll do it anyway. MonriaTitans for the people who are hearing impaired, and also on Buy Me a Coffee, where educational quotes regarding video games and literacy are shared. If you tip through Buy Me a Coffee, 15% of the proceeds minimum go to Kids Need to Read, whose mission is to help children discover the joy of reading and the power of a literate mind. Speaking of artist shoutouts, today's artist shoutout goes to Katie Roundtree. And I forgot to have that up. So today's artist shoutout was inspired by the Oxford English Dictionary's word of the day, lardy-darty, which is very or excessively refined in an upper-class way, affected, mannered, posh. So I typed upper class into ArtStation, and this was one of the things that popped up. They are an, as they put it, aspiring concept artist, and they love to do environment design. This is pretty cool. I wouldn't say it's posh, but it's definitely upper class. They're on Instagram, ArtStation, as I mentioned, and they have an email with which to get in contact. Do go give them a follow. Alrighty then, so today I will be reading portions of What They Don't Teach in Art School by Will Terry and Line and Mass by Alberto Ruiz for educational purposes, but again, I will only be reading portions for DMCA and copyright reasons. These tend to go about an hour-ish. They can be longer, and they go as follows. Read the summary on the back of the book, if applicable. Read the foreword and preface, if applicable. If there is no introduction, read part of the first chapter. Alrighty. And starting with What They Don't Teach in Art School. Now, they don't have a summary on the back, unless this badass quote will count as the summary. You are an artist. You love to create. You want to be able to make money with your art. This book will help you make the changes necessary and give you the knowledge to earn a living with your art. This is a big book. I love it. Dedication to all of my art teachers, illustration mentors, illustration peers, and the students who have taught me so much. So the table of contents says, why I wrote this book, how to be successful in art school, becoming a master artist, getting freelance work after art school, creating your own brand, getting a full-time art job, professional practices afterward, what is the biggest lesson you've learned as a working professional artist, and there's a notes section for where you can take notes. All right, so I'm going to read, since there's no foreword, preface, and I guess the why I wrote this book counts as an introduction. All right, and right before the section, there is a quote. In order to make a thriving career with your art, you need to be able to not only create great art, you need to know how to market your art. All right, why I wrote this book. At the time of the publication of this book, I have been a freelance illustrator for 27 years, starting in 1992. I've taught at 2 universities, lectured at many art schools, and taught online for svslearn.com. In that time, I've spent a large portion of my time teaching illustration students design, drawing, painting, and how to make children's books. Each time I taught a class, I would also work theory, business strategies, entrepreneurship, and common sense people skills into my lectures. At the end of each class, I would often hear things like, I've never had another teacher talk to us the way you did, or this has been the most informative class I've ever taken in art, or I've learned more in your class than in any other class I've had in this program. Don't get me wrong. I don't think I have a corner on the information I'm sharing in this book. I just think that most teachers are not incentivized to go beyond the course curriculum as defined in the catalog. In other words, not my problem. Then there are those teachers who have never had a career in art aside from their teaching position. Therefore, they have no practical advice to share. In order to make a thriving career with your art, you need to be able to not only create great art, you need to know how to market your art. Turning the page. Big, thick page. Love it. One of these skills without the other isn't enough. You must have both. There are amazing artists out there who would easily make lots of money but aren't getting freelance work because art buyers don't know they exist. Likewise, there are artists with marketing skills and tenacity who lack the portfolio to land gigs. Art schools focus on teaching their students how to make art and mostly leave students to their own devices to figure out how to sell their work. Schools are not accountable to students who cannot find work in their chosen profession. In fact, most administrators, if asked, will tell you that they do not exist to help you get a job. Yet the freshman marketing brochures are filled with photos of graduates working in their new careers. Sure, you might have an art school that gives lip service by offering seniors a business class, but it's often taught by a warm body whose main qualifications consisted of the simple fact that it fit into his or her schedule. What's worse is often the information given in the business class covers the things you can find in a quick Google search: self-employment taxes, contracts, business licenses, invoices, etc. What's missing is the information that you need to actually garner the jobs and opportunities that give you the privilege to pay taxes, create contracts and invoices, etc. To be clear, some art schools are very good at teaching technique and the craft of making great images, even art. In fact, many of the greatest illustrators went to great art schools, but their graduates almost always had to learn the rest on their own. I am very grateful for the art training I received, but when I finished school, I was lost and scrambled to find the information I was missing. What's Also missing are the entrepreneurial techniques, strategies, behaviors, and networking advice, as well as the need to be constantly looking for new emerging markets and opportunities with the skills they taught you in art school. I love the illustrations in here. I wanted to write this book because I spent my life helping other artists learn what I've learned: how to lead a very fulfilling life as a freelance illustrator, teacher, mentor, podcaster, YouTuber, and entrepreneur. We only get a few chances to leave our mark in this world, and I'm excited to share my experiences as a working artist and teacher. I've included my artwork because I've always wanted to release an art anthology book like many artists do when they have developed a body of work. I felt that sharing the work I've spent my life creating along with the teaching I've spent my life giving would combine to communicate and enhance the passion I have for both disciplines. I can't teach without showing art, and I can't create art without using it to teach. And here is that quote again. You are an artist, you love to create, you want to be able to make money with your art. This book will help you make the changes necessary to give you the knowledge to earn a living with your art. My advice is to surrender to the process. Let go. Don't try to drive the ship. Allow your teachers to teach. The best artists are usually the best students. The best students have learned to be humble and teachable. That is the quote that leads into the section, How to be Successful in Art School. And we're only 11 minutes in. I didn't realize how quick that would be to read, but I'm going to leave it there and hop on over to Line and Mass by Alberto Ruiz, and I was freaking out for a second because I couldn't find the bookmark I was using to help me read. Okay, so they have the summary on the back, and it's actually the same summary written in 3 different languages. I am very tempted to try and read the Spanish part because I did take some Spanish, but I'm not gonna. It's a beautiful language. I don't want to butcher it. So moving on. Line and Mass is a collection of drawings produced by Alberto Ruiz over the past 20 years. In several chapters, Alberto showcases some of his favorite pieces, sharing his personal approaches, anecdotes, aesthetic decisions, and technical notes on the creation of his artwork. Those of you who are familiar with his work will quickly realize this book is 100% Alberto. Get a look at his way of expression on 416 pages. There is plenty of room for that. Alberto Ruiz is a former illustrator, graphic designer, and publisher. He quit the corporate art and publishing industries to pursue his lifelong dream of becoming an independent figurative artist, painter, and sculptor. He teaches figure drawing and human anatomy to artists. The texts in this book are in English, French, and Spanish. So I don't know why, when you look at this on Amazon, it labels it as the French version. So be mindful of that if you decide to go grab this book. Okay. All right, this book is dedicated to my children, Allison, Megan, Martin, Sam, Luke, and Sebastian, with love. There is no table of contents. That's fine. Aha, but sections are labeled. So there is a portion About the artist, there is a preface and there is a brief history. All right. Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah, as you can see, I got this book and didn't flip through it. I'm going blind. So I'm going to read what I just said out loud. This portion about preface, brief history. All right, they made this easy. Thank you. I lost my bookmark again. Okay, there it is. Whew. All right. Alberto was born in Ecuador and has worked as a freelance artist ever since moving to New York City as a teenager. He is the founder, president, and editor of Brand Studio Press, Trinket Publishing, and I'm probably going to butcher that, Zuppi XUPUI Editions. I'll slow down. XUPUY Editions, and has spent more than 30 years in the fields of illustration, animation, and graphic design in the United States as a production artist and art director. As a freelance designer, he has worked most notably for DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Nickelodeon, Hallmark Entertainment, Viacom Networks, Viacom, or is it Viacom? Ha! VIACOM. V. Oh my goodness. New York Magazine, and others. Although the bulk of his life's work Am I not enunciating very well? Although the bulk of his life's work has taken place in the areas of commercial illustration and graphic design, Alberto is best known for his figurative art. His first book, Boceto, or is it Boceto? Ha! Bocetto. The Art of Alberto Ruiz was published globally by Heaven Metal magazine in 2007, and he has contributed as a writer instructor to Draw Magazine, an illustration how-to magazine, where he has penned articles and tutorials on digital illustration from 2004 to 2006. In the span of 6 years, from 2003 to 2009, holy crap, that's a little over 20 years ago. Sorry, in the span of 6 years, from 2003 to 2009, as an independent figurative artist, Alberto published 8 art books featuring his stylish renditions of the female form. Having long retired from book publishing, commercial illustration, and design work, he recently moved back to the city of his birth, Guayaquil. I'll spell it. Guayaqul. GUA. There you go. Where him and his wife are raising their 4 boys. In his spare time, he pursues figurative art and teaches drawing and anatomy for artists. All right. Preface. If there are no such things as lines in nature, why then have we humans evolved to perceive and represent the outline of 3-dimensional objects and their volume as a cluster of lines? I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is that it feels as natural as it is practical. Not only do lines define objects in space, but also, through our ingenious use of lines, we can suggest, explain the change in direction of the planes of these objects, their volume, weight, light, shadow, texture, and depth of field. So linear drawing is the default method due to the intrinsic characteristics of our physiology, the innate procedure that we humans use to represent in 2 dimensions, the 3-dimensional space that we inhabit. The 3-dimensional space that we inhabit. I love how this is written in a bunch of different languages. This is so damn cool. I could probably use this to brush up on my Spanish, huh? Right, a brief history. My first conscious encounter with lines occurred while watching cartoons, line drawings, on television. My favorite was The Woody Woodpecker Show by Walter Lantz. Well, I'll spell it Lantz. Between cartoon shorts, Walter himself would come on and show you how to draw Woody. I was mesmerized just watching him draw. Later in my childhood years, I developed an inclination towards the arts, or better yet, a healthy obsession with line drawing, no colors, no tonal drawing. That obsession started with a Reader's Digest magazine I found at my Aunt Jenny's house while visiting. I was 11 years old. I had not yet developed the habit of drawing, I just loved the caricatures that appeared in the article. They were the line drawings of the great Al Hirschfeld. I started drawing in earnest at the age of 13. I was inspired by comics, of course, just not the superhero type. I was in love with newspaper comic strips. I rarely read them, I just looked at the art. There was this Argentine cartoonist called DeVito who drew what seemed to me at the moment an army of characters. Each one had its own strip. In almost every episode, somehow, some way, he managed to draw a curvaceous woman, sometimes more than one. Guillermo DeVito was my hero. Oh. I'll spell the first name. Guillermo. DeVito. Divito. Was my hero. I won't bore you with further stories from my youth. Suffice to say, I kept on ignoring volume in favor of line until I was 16. I'm sure about the timeline because that was the year I enrolled in the only art high school in town. Even while taking classes at the School of Fine Arts, I didn't care much for representational drawing. My art had lines, and the colors were flat. Still, I had to learn grayscale and color theory, but they were things I had to do, and I did. I can't say I didn't enjoy them, but soon after entering high school, I discovered David Levin and Jean Mulatier. Okay. Mulatier. Two monsters of line drawing and decided to become a newspaper editorial cartoonist. I had to wait 30-somewhat years to fall in love with tonal drawing. It happened in my mid-40s. Looking back, I can see it as a natural progression for what I was doing before I just didn't. Oh, there was a period there. Looking back, I can see it as a natural progression from what I was doing before. I just didn't know it back then. The real reason? I came to understand that I disliked volumetric drawing or painting because I felt all of it was too time-consuming. Which is true, and lacked artistic merit and significance due to the nature of its complex planning and tedious elaboration, which it is not. I am an impulsive and spontaneous being by nature. Patience is not one of my few virtues. I practice mediation as a philosophy of life. It is my Raison d'être. Raison, Raison, d'être, Detre. Immediation in its two definitions, immediately, without thinking or without much thought, and immediately, without mediation, without intervention or external stimulus. I'm a lone wolf, not a team player. I don't work well with others. He just defined me. I have a hard time doing things in the long term. My work has to be done in relatively short cycles. Nope, not going there. Nope, fuck it. I already brought it up. Say I have ADHD without actually saying I have ADHD. Anyway, my life projects are constantly changing and evolving. They couldn't happen any other way. This is the reason why strictly academic drawing is not and will never be my forte. I guess I could work on a drawing for 3 months or longer, but why? Colon, close parentheses. I prefer a 2-minute sketch to a finished illustration. Raymond Casas drawings to Raymond Casas paintings. Basquiat to Chuck Close. Ooh, they didn't get the first one. Basquiat. Okay. Basquat. To Chuck Close. Singer Sargent to everyone else anytime. I have worked hard all my life in order to avoid complex mechanical and tedious work. It is in my nature. The artists I admire are able to represent the figure with the least amount of effort and strokes possible. Ironically, learning to make the kind of art that seems to flow right out of your hand takes forever. So here we are. After a lifetime of dodging hard work of any sort, I'm finally ready to do whatever it takes. Painting is not yet my favorite activity, but I am sure that I will start using oils or acrylics in 10 years, because I know that an artist's path is endless and full of possibilities. In the end, line drawing and mass drawing are just tools for self-expression, and that is precisely what this book is about. This volume illustrates my personal journey as a self-taught artist. The images have been chronologically ordered, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to explain how I got to this point. I sincerely hope you enjoy it. A lot of love. My brain is having a hard time processing the sentence. Hang on. I sincerely hope you enjoy it. A lot of love and as few lines as possible have been put into it. Oh, okay. All right. Well, technically that was the introduction, forward, and preface all in one, and it was... Yep. Note to self, make time to go through this 416-page monolith. Well, this the reading of that didn't even last 30 minutes. All right, cool. Well, I'm tempted to grab another book. I'm not. I only read 2 for these, or portions of 2 books for these. So, before we get on to the closing, we're going to hop back to the artist shout out real quick. And something I forgot to mention in the beginning, if you wish to assist me with combating the AI art generators, one thing I like to do is, when I have the fundage for myself, something I was doing before I lost my job, not getting into that. But I would be boosting these on social media. Tumblr was my main one. If you don't know a whole lot about Tumblr, they have a Tumblr Blaze thing where you can pay to have literally your post boosted and put in front of a couple thousand people minimum. So yeah, that's what I've been trying to do whenever I can. Boost the artist shoutouts, get them in front of as many people as possible so they're not looking at the AI shit. So today's artist shoutout is Katie Roundtree. They are an aspiring concept artist and environment designer. They're on Instagram, ArtStation. There is their email, katielroundtree@gmail.com. Human artists are given artist shoutouts to combat AI art theft. #create.don't-scrape. And you can donate at ko-fi.com/artist shoutouts. To help me boost these lovely individuals. And with that, thank you for watching the video. If you would like to support me directly, there are a few different ways to do it. One of the other reasons why I'm pushing these artist shoutouts is I'm an artist myself at Titans Monria Art. Titans Monria Art. See, I keep forgetting if I can go into Pixel Chat and add words. I love Pixel Chat though. I love it. Because if you noticed here, it's purple, and on the other bit where I was reading portions aloud, it was yellow. It's so much fun to play with. Anyway, if you'd like to support me directly, there's MonriaTitans on Instagram and Twitter, and most everything. I have a Reddit, but I don't understand how to use it, so I dropped it. The MonriaTitans link is more for the Opinions and Truth blog, and it's a more personal one for me as well. If you want more about the weekend game show, that's Become Empowered on Instagram, Be Empowering on Twitter. I tried to get those to match, I really did, but Become Empowered was taken on Twitter and Be Empowering was taken on Instagram. I wonder how the other two individuals feel about me. If you want to support the weekend game show directly, you can tip me on MonriaTitans WGS Ko-fi. If you want to support just the art, we have ko-fi.com/Titans Monria Art. I did manage to get all those to match. I was proud of myself. But my favorite affiliation is Bookshop. Bookshop.org, what I like to call the Etsy for small business bookstores. Unfortunately, these books that I read portions of for you weren't on the shop. So the affiliate links you will see in the YouTube description are sadly to Amazon. But if you want to get as far away from Amazon as possible in the book category, I highly advise bookshop.org. Did I already say they were the small business, the Etsy for small business bookstores? I don't remember. But if you want to try and get away from Amazon, if you want to support my work, if you want to get more books to yourself, or buy more books for yourself, well then that's 3 skips with a stone now, isn't it? You can go to bookshop.org/shop/MonriaTitans. And right now you can get 5% off your order, enter your email, and receive a 5% discount for your next order. And with that, we come to a close. Remember, we are gamers not because we don't have a life, but because we choose to have many, which can also be said of readers. If anyone asks why you like video games, remind them a game is a problem-solving activity approached with a playful attitude. A quote by Jesse Shell. And if anyone gives you shit for your interests, tell them you may not like video games. What I learned from them is this: no enemies in front of you means you are going the wrong way. And there's a really good book quote from Stephen King. I should really add it to the exit when I do the read alouds. Something along the lines of, if you wish to be a writer, you must read a lot and write a lot, which actually applies to video games as well. Moving on. Thank you for watching. May every decision you make in the future be in the spirit of fairness, and may the rest of your day not go to shit. See you next time. Thank you again for watching.